The Performance Treadmill. Day 1. Spiritually bankrupt. Discuss. Besides financial bankruptcy, what are some other ways we use that word commonly? How might we define the word bankruptcy when it doesn't point to financial insolvency but to other forms? Bankrupt. The word has a dreadful ring to it. In fact, it is more than a word, it's an expression. It means failure, insolvency, inability to pay one's debts, perhaps financial ruin. Even in our lax and permissive society, being bankrupt still conveys some degree of disgrace and shame. Now, you may have never thought of it this way, but you are bankrupt. I'm not referring to your financial condition or your moral qualities. You may be financially as solid as the Rock of Gibraltar and the most upstanding person in your community, but you are still bankrupt. So am I. You and I and every person in the world are spiritually bankrupt. In fact, every person who has ever lived, except for Jesus Christ, regardless of his or her moral or religious state, has been spiritually bankrupt. Listen to this declaration of our bankruptcy from the pen of the Apostle Paul. There is no one righteous, not even one. There is no one who understands, no one who seeks God. All have turned away. They have together become worthless. There is no one who does good, not even one. Romans 3:10-12. Discuss. What are some elements to coming out of a financial bankruptcy? How might that help us better understand how we come out of our spiritual bankruptcy? No one righteous, no one who seeks God, no one who does good, not even one. This is spiritual bankruptcy in its most absolute state. Usually in a bankrupt business, the company still has a few assets that can be sold to partially pay its debts. But we had no assets, nothing we could hand over to God as partial payment of our debt. Even our righteous acts are like filthy rags in his sight. Isaiah 64:6. We were spiritually destitute. We owed a debt we could not pay. Then we learned salvation is a gift from God. It is entirely by grace through faith, not by works, so that no one can boast. Rome 6:23 f. 2:8-9. We renounced confidence in any supposed righteousness of our own and turned in faith to Jesus Christ alone for our salvation. In that act we essentially declared spiritual bankruptcy. But what kind of bankruptcy did we declare? In the business world, financially troubled companies forced into bankruptcy have two options, popularly known as Chapter 7 and Chapter 11, after the respective chapters in the Federal Bankruptcy Code. Chapter 11 deals with what we could call a temporary bankruptcy. This option is chosen by a basically healthy company that, given time, can work through its financial problems. Chapter 7 is for a company that has reached the end of its financial rope. It is not only deeply in debt, it has no future as a viable business. It is forced to liquidate its assets and pay off its creditors, often by as little as 10 cents on the dollar. The company is finished. So what kind of bankruptcy did we declare? To use the business analogy, did we file under Chapter 7 or Chapter 11? Was it permanent or temporary? I suspect most of us would say we declared permanent bankruptcy. There is nothing more we can do to earn our salvation, so using the business analogy, we would say we filed permanent bankruptcy. However, I think most of us actually declared temporary bankruptcy. Having trusted in Christ alone for our salvation, we have subtly and unconsciously reverted to a works relationship with God in our Christian lives. We recognize that even our best efforts cannot get us to heaven, but we do think there in God's blessings in our daily lives. 1. Consider your own salvation. Did you declare Chapter 7 or Chapter 11 spiritual bankruptcy? Which bankruptcy do you seem to be operating in these days? How do you know? After we become Christians, we begin to put away our more obvious sins. We start attending church, put money in the offering plate, and maybe join a small group Bible study. We see positive change in our lifestyle, and we begin to feel pretty good about ourselves. We are now ready to emerge from bankruptcy and pay our own way in the Christian life. Then the day comes when we fall on our face spiritually. We lapse back into an old sin, or we fail to do what we should have done. Because we think we are now on our own, paying our own way, we assume we have forfeited all blessings from God for some undetermined period of time. Our expectation of God's blessing depends on how well we feel we are living the Christian life. We declared temporary bankruptcy to get into His kingdom, so now we think we can and must pay our own way with God. We were saved by grace, but we are living by performance. 2. Have you had a spiritual failure? If, that same day, you had an opportunity to share Christ, could you have done it? Why or why not? What does that reveal about our true spiritual bankruptcy? Day 2.